Gustavus Adolphus, which is located in St. Peter, Minnesota. He is also a graduate of the Mitchell College of Law. He is the managing partner in St. Cloud, Minnesota of the law firm of St. Cloud. Bradshaw & Bryant is actually the name of the law firm. It's Bradshaw & Bryant, located in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And he also has a satellite office at the Colonnade in Golden Valley. He practices an area of plaintiff personal injury and criminal defense. The Minnesota Trial Lawyers Associate Member of the Year, as well as numerous excellence awards. He is also the past president of the Minnesota Consumer Alliance and editor of the Minnesota Trial Lawyers Associates publication of No Fault Uninsured Motorists. He is the former president of the Minnesota Association of Justice Board of Governors, and he constantly is always rated as one of the top 10 consumer lawyers and super lawyers of not only the state of Minnesota, but in the country. He is a certified trial lawyer by both the National Board of Trial Associates and Minnesota State Bar Association, and he's been admitted to practice in the Upper Sioux Tribal, he is admitted to the practice in the Upper Sioux Tribal Court, as well as recently admitted to the American Board of Trial Advocates. My brother is the definition of a true leader. Michael's guiding blocks of success has helped him build a fabulous career. Michael's mantra is justice for the injured. He treats all of his clients with compassion and respect. Michael is a man of integrity and high standards. He demonstrates a wisdom which is flexible and knowledgeable above the ever-changing world. Michael reads voraciously, is very aware of the news of the day, and is constantly on the alert concerning changes which affect his practice of law. Michael subtly carries an aura that shows an open, curious, and unbiased mind. I like to call him a man for all seasons, both intuitively and practically. He has been married to his wife Beth for 27 years. He has two beautiful sons, of course, my nephews. Thomas is a senior at St. Louis Park. He's in the Ivy program, as well as a thespian aficionado. David is a junior at St. Louis Park, and he is a very talented musician and a heck of a lacrosse player. This is my brother Michael, and you guys know already that I love the Boston Red Sox. Well, he's the biggest fan you'll ever meet. It makes me look like this little guy compared to the Boston Red Sox fan that he is. I am proud to present to you this morning my brother, Michael Allen Bryant, or should I say, Counselor Bryant.
I appreciate this opportunity, and thank you very much for letting me come in to talk to your class. I'll talk a little bit, or for a little while, about being a lawyer and how I became a lawyer, and then I'll get into some leadership that I've done and some things that I've learned as far as trying to become a better leader. Originally, if I go back a number of years, I didn't know I was going to be a lawyer. I was involved deeply in politics. I started off, we were lit dropping for a candidate by the name of Valentine Verna when I was in about 5th grade, 4th grade, somewhere in that time period. And politics is what I did. I worked on some presidential campaigns. I worked in Iowa. I worked in Michigan. And that's pretty much what I thought I would do. I worked on a presidential campaign back long before you guys were born, probably. At that presidential campaign, my candidate ended up losing, or not getting the presidential nomination. A lot of my friends went on to another campaign. I didn't like the guy they were working for. And so since I didn't like that person, I went to law school instead. And I kind of was going to use that to kind of hide out for a little while and then probably come back. The people that I was with, it was a candidate who was a congressman from Missouri, Dick Gephardt. They went on to Mike Dukakis' campaign. They lost the presidential election. But that whole group went on and worked for Bill Clinton and were in the White House for 8 years. So I knew a lot of the people that were in the White House that went on there. I had originally started in law school, or the idea of becoming a lawyer, back when I read a book by Huey Long. Huey Long was the former governor of Louisiana. And in that book, he talked about why he was a lawyer. And he was a lawyer for 3 reasons. He was a lawyer because you could be involved in current events of the day, so you could be involved in things that were going on. Second, it was a flexible job, so you could always find work. You could make money doing that kind of work. And third, he liked to talk. And so since he liked to talk, it was a good opportunity to get into a position where he could talk, and he also could do political stuff at the same time. So I applied for law school, and I applied to a school called William Mitchell. It was a night school. Well, it had a day program, but it also provided for a night school. So after college, worked on the presidential campaign, came back and went to law school. The program I was in was a 4-year program. I got out in 3 years because I went straight through the summers, and I also won a bunch of competitions. I won trial team, I was on law review, I won negotiations, and I had a couple other things that I had credit for. So I basically got a 1 semester that was all just stuff that I qualified for that I didn't actually go to class for. That worked out pretty good. And finished law school in 3 years. Through that time, I worked for a law firm that did personal injury. Personal injury is when you are involved, we represent people who have been injured in car accidents or things that, when they've been injured through the fault of someone else. So that's how I learned to do legal work, and then I went to school at night. After graduating from law school, I joined this law firm by the name of Bradshaw. At that point, it was Bradshaw Law Office. He'd been in business since the late 80s. And he had a practice that was primarily a lot of motorcycle riders. So he represented a lot of people that were in motorcycle groups or gangs, depending on how you want to define that. And along with the personal injury, they also did criminal. Okay, so I started, after not knowing a thing about criminal, I started doing criminal work right off the bat. When you get done with law school, and I'll go through what you need to do to become a lawyer, but when you get done with law school, you take the bar examination. And I knew I passed, but you don't become a lawyer until you go in front of the Supreme Court and get admitted. There's a special day they have a couple times a year where you go in and get admitted. So I wasn't a lawyer for about, I think it was about 30 days, maybe 20 days, where I went to court with John, and I kind of learned criminal work as I went along by watching. So I became a lawyer. It was in September of 1991. And I became a lawyer on Friday afternoon, went in front of the Supreme Court, they passed it, I became a lawyer. Monday morning, Twins won the World Series the night before, so we gotta watch that. Monday morning, I was supposed to drive out to central Minnesota. It was about an hour-and-a-half drive. I'm gonna make my first appearance in court. So I went from being admitted on Friday afternoon to being in court Monday morning. And I was representing a guy named Mark Ray. Mark Ray was about 6'4". And I was representing him on a DUI. My only job was to show up at this first appearance, get out there and ask for 2 things. I was supposed to waive reading, so we didn't have to read the complaint, and 2, I was supposed to waive time limits, so that we'd set up time limits for other appearances. So the whole way out that morning, whole drive out, I'm just practicing. Waive time limits, we'll waive reading. That's all I'm practicing. Get there. When I show up, the prosecutor, who I know really well now, at that point I'd never met him before, a guy named Fleming, came up to me and says, well, do you want to see if we can get this done? Okay. So his offer was no jail time. And that's the only thing this client wanted, was to stay out of jail for his DUI. But I didn't know what to do. I'd never taken a plea before. So I called John up. And at that point, I don't think I had a cell phone, so I must have called him from like a regular phone. So I called John up, what do I do? And he says, well, you talk to the client. So sounds like a good idea. I went to talk to Mark. I said, Mark, here's the deal. You won't go to jail. Here's what we're offering you, or here's what they're offering you. So he says he'll take it. So I go back to Fleming, okay, and tell him we'll take this deal. Go in front of the judge. It was Judge Lindquist, who I again didn't know. I've got to know much later on. And I said, well, are you going to go ask Fleming if you're going to go and put the deal in? He said, no, you can do it. So I have no idea how to put a deal in. And I got this deal that I'm supposed to go with. So me and Mark go in front of Judge Lindquist, and we're standing there. I remember court in Wilmer. It's this morning in September. And I've been a lawyer for about maybe 48 hours, somewhere in that range. And I give him the deal. Here's the deal. Judge says, okay. Starts the deal. Now, what I don't know is that they do something called suspending the sentence. Okay. So, put in the deal, and the judge listens to the deal, says, okay, and he goes, okay, now I pronounce you're going to plead guilty. You got Mark to plead guilty. Now I'll sentence. So he looks at Mark and says, you get 30 days in jail. So Mark freaks out and looks at me. And like I said, I've been a lawyer for 48 hours. So I look at him, I'm like, it'll be okay. I have no idea how it's gonna be okay, but it'll be okay. I just remember giving him the little, it'll be fine. Don't know, I'm about ready to raise my hand and go to jail for 30 days. Figured I was done being a lawyer. I'd be, shortest lawyer of all time in Minnesota. And then the judge suspended the sentence. So he said 30 days, but I suspend all the 30 days and no jail time as long as you stay out of trouble for a year. So yeah, I knew that was gonna, of course I knew that. I had no clue. Okay, so that was my start into being a lawyer.